Hello. Hi. Welcome to my live on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am just checking the feed to make sure everything is good. All right. So it looks like everything's good on Facebook. And let's check YouTube. Okay. And let's see here. Looks like everything's good. All right. So thank you so much for joining me on another live Tuesday cooking adventure. I am Chef Valerie Wilson, also known as Chef Val. Now, my business is macroval.com, and that's my website. I just realized that things look different. They look funky, different than before. Just checking the feed. This technology stuff that I'm doing is all new to me, so hang on a sec. All right, it looks good. All right, so today I am going to be making a recipe out of my first cookbook, Perceptions in Healthy Cooking, and it is tofu sausage. So this is the revised edition of my first cookbook, and this recipe was created over 20 years ago, and I've been making this recipe for 20 years. And so I've been teaching healthy whole foods cooking classes for 26 years. I am the author of 6 cookbooks. I teach cooking classes on a regular basis. I do personal chef services. And I also offer one-on-one lifestyle counseling where I can help you change your diet. I can help you start to live a healthy, whole foods, vegan lifestyle. I've counseled people also that have overcome health challenges in their lives, such as arthritis and fibromyalgia and cancer. My website has all that information on it. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you're joining me, please leave a comment and say hi. You can say where you're tuned in from. I am in the beautiful state of Michigan, where we have a glorious spring day today. The sun is shining. And it's 48 degrees, so it's almost 50 degrees here, which is great. Yeah, we got a beautiful spring day going on. And speaking of spring, in the springtime, we cook differently than we do in the middle of winter, right? Lots of beautiful green vegetables are coming up right now, like dandelion greens. I just bought some organic dandelion greens yesterday. I'm so excited. And asparagus, one of my favorite vegetables ever. That is a standard spring vegetable, asparagus. And so I have created an Easter dinner cooking class. That is coming up on Wednesday, April 5th. This is a hybrid class where you can attend either in person if you're in the area in Michigan, or you can attend virtually through Zoom. We're going to do 3 amazing recipes, and these recipes are out of this world delicious. I just created the asparagus side dish, and along with the asparagus side dish, I have a savory corn muffin featuring onions and jalapenos. And the main course dish is a layered dish. It's got roasted spring vegetables, millet, pinto beans, a Mexican carrot sauce, and homemade soy jalapeno cheese that we're going to make from scratch in class. This is what that Easter dinner plate looks like. Here is the beautiful corn muffins. And I love the corn muffins because they're gluten-free, but they're also moist. Here is the amazing asparagus dish featuring slivered almonds. And this is the layered Mexican flavored vegetables and millet. This is the main course right here. So I'm really looking forward to this cooking class. These recipes, this muffin is going to be like, it's a savory muffin, so don't think that it's going to be sweet. It's savory. So you're going to get distracted, but it's savory. This muffin is going to become one of my new favorite muffins. I just love the flavor of it. All right, so today during the live, I'm going to teach you how to make tofu sausage. So Max is tuned in. Thank you so much for your comment. Greatly appreciate that. And so let's get started cooking. So for this recipe, you're going to need a food processor. And we have a variety of ingredients here. The first of which is organic, firm, or extra firm tofu. This is fresh tofu, which means you find it in the refrigerated section, and it is packaged in water. That's how you know it's fresh. When you buy tofu, always look for organic soybeans, very important, because unfortunately, a large percentage of our soybean crop has been genetically modified, and we don't want that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the package of tofu, and we're going to drain the water. Just like so. And there is your tofu, okay? So we're just going to let that sit on the cutting board. A little bit of water will come out of it. There's no need to press the tofu. You don't need to press the excess water out because we're going to puree it in the food processor with all these delicious ingredients. Then we're going to make patties, and we're going to cook the patties. And so the moisture content is not that important that we need to press the tofu. First thing I'm going to put in the food processor is 3 cloves of garlic that I have already taken the skin off of. Put those in there like so. And we also have 1/2 of an onion that's chopped up. That's going in there also. Now I like to put the garlic and the onions in the food processor first, puree it up, and then you chop them in really small pieces so they're minced. That way, when you are eating the tofu sausage later, you don't have big chunks of onion and garlic in there. So we'll just mince these up. Scrape down the sides a little bit, like so. That's always important. Get all the chunks in there. So now we have the onions and the garlic chopped up. Now we can put the tofu in there. And you can just crumble the tofu with your hand like so and put it in there. I'm going to turn the food processor on just a little bit to break that tofu up. Just a little bit. You don't have to do much because you're going to add all the rest of the ingredients, and then you're going to puree everything together. So I have quite a little list of ingredients here because we want to make this tofu sausage as flavorful as possible. All right. So we have 1 tablespoon of a dark miso. Miso is soybeans that have been naturally fermented. They've been eating miso for a long time, thousands of years. It's naturally fermented, so it gives you that like pungent sour flavor that you're looking for. And then we also have 2 tablespoons of tamari. Tamari is your salty condiment. So tamari is the salty liquid that comes off of when they ferment miso. So we got 2 tablespoons of tamari. And then we have 2 tablespoons of tahini. Tahini is sesame seed paste, high in calcium and high in iron. Good quality vegetable fat going in there. to make the patties nice and rich. We have 1/4 cup of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of brown rice syrup. Now, I use brown rice syrup as my sweetener. If you've attended any of my cooking classes or watched any of my videos, you know that I use that instead of white refined sugar because brown rice syrup will never spike your blood sugar level. So we're giving the sausage a little bit of sweetness with also a little bit of saltiness. And then we have some seasonings. So I have 1/4 teaspoon of a paprika. I like paprika because it gives you a little bit of spice, a little bit of heat, but not overpowering like a cayenne pepper, which would burn your taste buds. So I like just a little bit of paprika. You can use either the smoked paprika or you could use just regular paprika. Today I'm using the regular, I'm not using the smoked, but either one will work. Now the spices that we have, 1 teaspoon, we have 1 teaspoon of sage and 1 teaspoon of rosemary. So that's the predominant flavor because we have sage and rosemary. Sage is a natural decongestant, so they all have medicinal properties. Okay. And then I have 1/2 teaspoon of thyme, 1/2 teaspoon of fennel, and 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. Now, fennel is one of the signature flavors that you find in sausage on a regular basis anyways. Fennel is really good to help promote healthy bones. It's high in calcium and phosphorus. And thyme is related to oregano. It has antibacterial properties, antifungal properties. So again, they all have healing properties. I'm using them in this recipe for taste. Okay. So that's basically everything that's going in there. And now we puree this up until we get a smooth texture. All right, you're going to want to turn it off and scrape down the sides now because some of that onions and garlic got on the side. So we'll scrape it down now. Puree it again. Make sure it's all nice and smooth. Don't mind me, I forgot to get out a rack before class to put the sausage on once it's cooked. So I just got it out for presentation purposes. All right, let's check this and make sure we have all the onion and garlic pieces all in there. Looks pretty good. All right, that's what it looks like. It's all pureed and smooth. Get yourself a nice mixing bowl because now we're going to mix it together. All right, here's the smooth consistency here. It actually tastes very good right now, but we're going to want to cook it. We don't want to eat it right now. I created this recipe, like I said, over 20 years ago. And when I created it, you know what I did? I just went and looked at a package of sausage and what flavors were in it, what spices were in it, what combination was in it. And that's how I chose the rosemary, sage, fennel, thyme, a little bit of paprika. Now, some people like their sausage a little more spicy, so you could put some cayenne pepper in there if that's your preference. I don't like spicy food, so I don't go that heavy with it. I'm making sure I get everything out of the food processor. So we get this out. I make this tofu sausage on a regular basis all the time because these patties freeze very well. So you can make up these patties and you can put them in the freezer, and then you always have these patties available to eat. So it's a nice little convenient food for you that you can always have on hand. All right, so now we need to put 1 cup of oat flour in there. Now I chose oat flour so that my tofu sausage is gluten-free. You could use your favorite whole grain flour. And the purpose of the flour is to hold the patties together. You know, in the 26 years that I've been teaching cooking classes, I have created so many patty recipes, whether it's a veggie burger, the tofu sausage. I've done Chinese tofu patties. And inevitably, when I create them, if I don't put some type of binding agent in there, which would be the 1 cup of oat flour that I'm adding now, the patties don't hold together. So I usually add some type of whole grain flour to have them stay together so much nicer. So we're mixing in the 1 cup of oat flour now. And once it's all mixed in, this is what it looks like. Now, don't cook the tofu sausages now. The batter is, it's kind of thick, but it's also kind of soft. So what I do is I put the batter in the refrigerator. It's actually better if you make it the night before, so it stays in the refrigerator the whole night. I usually do that. Or you can make it, leave it in the fridge for at least 2 hours so that it gets nice and soft. That's always a good time frame, at least 2 hours. You want it to get cold. You want to get completely cold so you can work with it better. All right. Now, of course, I did that before I went live so that I would have some ready for us here so you could see what it looks like. So here's the one that was in the fridge. It's thicker. It's going to hold together better for us. That's the tofu sausage. All right. All right. So if you've just joined me, I'm making tofu sausage from my Perceptions in Healthy Cooking cookbook. I am live on Facebook and YouTube right now. If you happen to join me, please leave a comment and say hello and let me know you're there. You can also let me know where you're tuned in from. I'm in Michigan. And we're having a beautiful sunny day here in Michigan. And it's a beautiful spring day. So we're making spring tofu sausage. Okay. And if you're watching this video on replay, you can go ahead and comment on the video. Ask me any questions. I will answer them. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel. That really helps immensely. And share. If you're watching the video, hit the share button so that more people can learn how to make my tofu sausage recipe. And I would greatly appreciate that. All right, now we're going to cook the tofu sausage. So let's move over here to where I have set up a grill. It's an electric grill. Now you can do this on the stove on a saute pan. It's perfectly fine. If you have a grill or whatever that fits on 2 burners on your stove, that's awesome too. This is an electric one, and it's glass is what it is. It's so it's all natural. There's no toxic, substances on it or anything. I'm going to set it at about 350 degrees. That's a good temperature. Now I have a bowl of water with my scoop ready to go. I have a spatula ready to go because once I put it on here, I'm going to press it down. All right. So you dip the scoop in water so that the batter doesn't stick to it. And you scoop off 1 scoop. I always make sure to level it off. You want 1 level scoop. And you put it on the grill like so. I do 1 level scoop so all the patties are the exact same size. All right. So this is tofu sausage that you can eat for breakfast. Maybe you're making some buckwheat pancakes. I recently taught a blueberry buckwheat cooking class. Oh, that was so absolutely delicious. If you're interested in that cooking class, macroval.com, all my cooking classes are recorded, and you can purchase cooking classes off my website. So you could also eat these tofu patties as a sandwich. I've done that before. If I'm going somewhere, you could put it in between 2 pieces of bread. I like yellow mustard, my favorite condiment, so I usually put yellow mustard on it. You could also do it in a roll-up. If you have some whole grain flat bread, you could do it in a roll-up too. All right, so now they're starting to cook, but they're still like in a mound. So I take my spatula and get it wet with a little bit of water, and I push the patties down like so. That's what I do. Push it down like so. And you're going to cook the patties until they're brown on one side, flip them over, and brown them on the other side. Okay? That's what we're going to do. Now I have ready to go for when they come off of the grill. I've got a cookie sheet with a rack on it. So they're going to go on there. When they come off, I've got to wash my hands now. Hold on a sec here. Oh, it smells amazing in here already. Those tofu patties cooking. All right, so we're making tofu patties today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. These are browning right now. So there's a lot of information out there about soybeans and tofu that is not necessarily true. So soybeans have been eaten for over 5,000 years. They're an excellent source of protein. In fact, they're a complete protein, and they're high in B vitamins. Protein is very important in your diet because protein feeds and nurtures your heart and your brain. And we need protein in the form of beans. Beans are high in calcium and iron. They're fantastic for you. The soybean, out of all health foods, has been studied maybe more than any other health food, because there's a lot of controversy about the soybean being healthy or being not healthy. Now, I've been teaching for 26 years, and I actually started studying healthy food about 30 years ago. And I was studying and I was learning about the health benefits of soy and how it has anti-cancer properties. And they've been eating a lot of soy over in the Orient, and they have far less incidence of breast cancer over there. So it's just a very healthy food. And then I started teaching cooking classes, and I've been teaching classes for maybe about 4 or 5 years. And people started to bring me these articles that said soy is bad for you. And I was like, what are they talking about? This doesn't make any sense. Now, most of these articles were referencing refined processed soy, soy that's in frozen food. And again, any food that comes from nature, if you eat it in its whole form, it's healthy and great for you. If you refine or process it, it's not good. They also started to genetically modify the soybean. And so a lot of these articles were referencing that, genetically modified food. Please stay away from that. That is not any good. So you want to stay away from that. Let's check our sausages. Ooh, they look like they need to be flipped over. Ooh, they look a beautiful brown color. Here, let me get can you see that? Beautiful brown color. Oh, yum. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I'm turning it down to like 320 because they seem to be cooking very fast. All right. I'm going to just hit them down a little bit. Don't squish them too much, just a little bit. All right. Okay, so back to talking a little bit about soy, right? And I wonder if I should reference this book because I've been talking about soy for like 26 years. And I came across this lady who has written books about soy. And her books have everything that I teach and everything I say in the books. Let me go grab the book. I'll show it to you. Okay, sorry about that. I wasn't planning on showing her book, but as long as I'm talking about soy, if you want all the information in one place about what I'm talking about and about soy, it's called The Skinny on Soy, and it's written by Marie Osser. Marie, dear, wonderful, sweet lady. Unfortunately, she is no longer here. She did pass away. She wrote the introduction to my cookbook, Year-Round Healthy Holiday Dishes. And she has she has the case studies, the scientific studies. She also referenced in here all of the false information that's out there about soy. So again, this is just a fantastic book. Now, in the introduction of my Year-Round Healthy Holiday Dishes and my Perception Cookbook, I also touch on soy and the controversy and why it's not true. For instance, sometimes people say, oh, men should not eat soy because it creates man breasts. No, it doesn't. It does not. Otherwise, the people in Japan and over in the Orient would be walking around with man breasts, right? Because they eat far more soy over there than we do over here. And so that all comes from this ridiculous thing that happened. And again, Marie Osser goes into great detail about it, but some gentleman decided he was going to stop drinking cow's milk and he was going to drink soy milk instead. He proceeded to drink like 4 to 6 quarts of soy milk a day. You should not drink 4 to 6 quarts of anything a day. I don't care what it is. That's way too much. And especially soy milk. You're going to drink that much soy milk in a day? Just doesn't make any sense. And so he developed, the man boobs. Well, I'm sorry, you overconsume something weird's going to happen. But there's more to the story than that, but that's the general gist. And then people who are on the bandwagon where they're promoting that soy is bad for you because it's a completely healthy, vegetarian, vegan source of protein that's very healthy. And so if you don't want people to eat a healthy vegan or vegetarian diet, you might come out with information that tells you otherwise, right? So there's always, unfortunately, money is the bottom line. So if you're trying to make money, you're going to put information out there that's not necessarily true because you want to promote the thing that you're promoting. You don't want the other thing to be promoted, right? So that's just one of the things out there that's not true about soy. Let's look at patties. You know what? I think I had the grill a little too hot for the first side. I'm going to let them, because I turned it down now. So maybe you should cook these at like 320 if you have a grill like this. If you don't, you're going to cook it on the stove. A medium temperature is where you want to be, right? Now, there's all this controversy about soy and estrogen and cancer and things like that. Soybeans have phytoestrogen. Phytoestrogen means that it comes from a plant source. It's not like the estrogen that's in your body. It is a plant source. And what phytoestrogen actually does, it will balance your hormones. If your estrogen is too low, it'll bring it back up. If your estrogen is too high, it'll bring it back down. Soy is a balancer, and it balances it. Okay? So we don't have to worry about that. And you can observe this because God forbid, if a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, and the doctor will tell her, don't eat any soy. And she'll think in her head, well, I don't eat soy anyways. I eat ice cream and bread and pasta. Well, the doctor is telling me it's from the soy, so I better not eat any soy. And then she goes through the treatment and hopefully she survives. And then, if she has some type of operation, then her hormones are going to be all screwed up and her estrogen won't be correct. So they're going to recommend that she take a phytoestrogen, a plant-based estrogen that I'm telling you about comes from the soybean naturally. So it really kind of doesn't make any sense, Now, soybeans the contain anti-cancer properties. So there's no way that the phytoestrogen in the soybean is going to affect or make the cancer worse, right? If anything, it's going to help get rid of it. So one of the things that's in soybeans is phytic acid. This will inhibit the growth of cancer cells. There's also protease inhibitors, which is a universal anti-carcinogen and may block the action of some cancer-causing enzymes. Soybeans also contain genistein, which may stop the spread of some forms of cancer at an early stage. And genistein also helps to prevent heart disease. Okay. So that's the skinny on soy. And again, highly recommend this book, The Skinny on Soy, Marie Osser. Everything that I teach about soy is in this book, and she has all the scientific evidence to back it up. So our tofu sausage is done now. Let's pull it off the grill. And that's what it looks like. Okay. We'll pull it off the grill here. And like I said, this is a wonderful recipe to have on hand. Freezes very well. Store it in the refrigerator till it's time to eat. You can eat it as a breakfast, with your pancakes or whatever you're fixing for breakfast. Make a sandwich out of it. Make a roll-up out of it. Let me just move away from this grill right now and come back over here. And the recipe is out of my Perceptions in Healthy Cooking cookbook, which is my first cookbook that I wrote over 20 years ago, which has wonderful, fabulous recipes in it. If you're just tuned in, leave me a comment. Say hi. Let me know where you're tuned in from. I'm here in Michigan, where we have a beautiful sunny day, beautiful spring day. And I am working on and creating spring recipes featuring asparagus, one of my favorite vegetables. I love asparagus. Coming up on Wednesday, April 5th, I am teaching a in-person and virtual hybrid cooking class where I'm creating a whole Easter dinner. And these recipes are so delicious. Every year, people ask me, well, what's your favorite recipe or whatever? And it's always like, well, it's the recipes I just created are my favorite recipes. So the Easter dinner consists of a savory cornbread muffin featuring jalapeno and onions. So it's not a dessert, it's savory. We have an asparagus dish right here with a glaze on it and some slivered almonds. And the main dish is roasted spring vegetables with millet pinto beans, a Mexican carrot sauce, and jalapeno soy cheese on the top that I'm going to teach you how to make from scratch. That's a longer cooking class. That's a 2.5-hour cooking class. And if you're here in Michigan and you want to attend in person, guess what? You get to eat the food, which is always the best part of the cooking class. I get reactions like, Oh my God, this is delicious. The last in-person class was soups and sandwiches, where I taught how to make a oat vegan cheese. And my student said, as she tasted it, she went, "Oh, this tastes just like cheese." And I was like, "Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's great. That's fantastic." So happy, so happy. I recently taught an in-person cooking class at the Saline Library here in Michigan. And many of the people that were there that attended, I taught how to make my brown rice stir fry. Again, the recipe is out of the Perceptions cookbook. And many people came back for seconds. They're like, can I have more of that? I'm like, sure, absolutely. Really flavorful and delicious. All right. Let me take one of these tofu sausages and we'll break it open. I'll let you see what it looks like. Describe the taste and the texture. It's not that hot. All right, here we go. Here it is. Let's cut it like so. We got some steam coming off of it. Cut it like so. It's soft in the middle, okay? Soft in the middle, but it's got a hard outside from it, being browned on the grill. And the flavors are really, you got that flavor of the rosemary and the thyme in it and the fennel. The fennel shines through. And it's like a sweet, but it's also salty. It's like sausage would be. Mmm. 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 That is so good. Mm-hmm. Still one of my favorite recipes out of my first cookbook. It's kind of hard to eat when you're demonstrating and doing a cooking class, but I wanted to taste that. Just absolutely delicious. So if you are watching the video, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on Facebook, hit that like button. And on either Facebook or YouTube, you can share the video. Get the word out. Every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I plan on coming to you live. Either I will be doing a recipe or I have some special guest chefs lined up who will be coming on with me. The last 2 weeks ago, I interviewed Patricia Becker, who is a yoga instructor. If you haven't watched that video, please go back and watch that. She did some simple yoga exercises and some deep breathing on the show. Deep breathing is so important for your health. And so that was wonderful. Now, I am an avid yoga person. I've been doing yoga for over 20 years, and I highly recommend it. And it's very good for your health. I have a blog called I Am the Creator of My Health. You can subscribe to that. You can either have a free subscription or a paid subscription. And every Wednesday, I teach a cooking class. It's an in-person cooking class through Zoom, very interactive, and the recipes are more involved. Tomorrow, I'm going to be teaching a pasta dish with the signature flavor of spring, which is sour. It's going to have some sauerkraut in it, sugar snap peas, tempeh. It's got a tahini dressing. That's tomorrow from 6:30 to 7:30. Go to macroval.com to sign up for that cooking class or any of my April cooking classes coming up. The last week in April, I'm teaching how to make a lemon cake with blueberry sauce. And guess what? All the recipes are gluten-free. So, and they're all guaranteed to be absolutely delicious. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, learning how to make my tofu sausage. All right. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now because the recipe is done. Thank you so much. Get in the kitchen and cook. You will have a great time. You'll have fun. And hopefully you're going to love the food. All right. Signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday.